My dockhands are watching for your cargo, Lady Arabelle. They know it's precious.
There was a storm off the coast. Perhaps it delayed the ships.
Forgive me if I do the job you hired me for, Lord Bacaro. Ah, a familiar face. I could use your help, adventurer. So good to see you again, my dear. Remember that little predicament we dealt with not too long ago? Well, now I have a related but larger problem, so let me tell you about my proposition. It pays exceedingly well, I assure you. Care to hear more? Oh, nothing tawdry, my dear. We'll be too busy for romantic shenanigans before long, I expect. Some precious cargo was supposed to sail in on the morning tide, but it never arrived. I need someone not known around the island to be my eyes and ears. While tales of my exploits credit me with all sorts of talents, I can't be in more than one place at a time. I could use a fresh face to mingle with the locals, determine if anyone knows anything about my 3 missing ships and their cargo. Lord Bacaro's conference can't proceed without that cargo. Here's what I need you to do. Check the inn, the lighthouse, and the Loch Bane Shallows. See if anyone knows or saw anything. Then meet me outside the North Gate to compare notes. Certainly. Since you're new to High Isle, I understand you may not be as familiar with the local area as I am. What do you wish to know? Gonfalon Head Lighthouse, blessed by Kynareth herself, stands atop the hill just west of town. It offers an excellent vantage from which to watch the nearby waters. Perhaps the lighthouse keeper saw something that will help. Possibly. When ships fail to make port, it's only natural to wonder if they were damaged or blown off course by a storm. The lighthouse keeper has a perfect view of the approach to Gonfalon Bay. If my ships were out there, she might have seen them. The currents of Loch Bane are strong. Flotsam from the open sea often washes up along the shores of the waterway. Some of High Isle's poorer folk comb the beach looking for salvage. Let's hope they haven't found any today. The ancient Anchor Inn sits just up the street near the city gate. It's one of the more popular places on the island. In my experience, inns are an excellent location to pick up rumors. Wherever you think is best, my dear. But do get started soon. My intuition tells me that some sort of mischief is afoot, and my intuition is rarely wrong.
Ah, a visitor. Or another one of Lady Arabelle's associates. Either way, welcome to our island. Bacaro Valorous, founder of the Society of the Steadfast, at your service. I hope you find your visit to High Isle restful and profitable. Yes, a sudden squall of unusual intensity. It died out just as quickly as it arose. I noticed it off to the northeast. Dark clouds filled that part of the horizon. Perhaps our ships were delayed by the shifting winds, or decided to wait out the storm. I'm afraid that's privileged information. Suffice it to say, the cargo coming in on those ships is vital to the conference the Society of the Steadfast is sponsoring. Of course I do, but I learned long ago to have patience when it comes to such matters. Not every setback is a conspiracy, and not every delay is the act of a Daedric cult. Though, if you do learn anything of imminent concern, please let us know.
I'm a dockmaster, not a bloody mage. What does the lady expect me to do if her ships never made it to the docks in the first place? Should I be? Lady Arabelle suspects some sort of foul play, but not on my docks. Not a chance. Gonfalon Bay is safe. Everyone knows that. Trouble comes from the mainland, not from here. Of course, the waters to the northeast can be treacherous. The closer you get to Amanos, the more unpredictable the currents become. And storms constantly barrage the coast, not to mention sea elf pirates. A good captain knows these things. None of that would keep Lady Arabelle's ships from reaching port. Like I said, storms close to Amanos aren't that unusual. I doubt the ships we're waiting for would have sailed that far north. Just in case, I sent people to look for signs of wreckage in the shallows. I really don't expect them to find any, though.
I hear these knights are robbing people and looting caravans. Someone ought to do something. Hail, Fred. Have you heard about the band of robber knights that waylaid travelers on the road to Gonfalon Bay? I came to High Isle to trade, but getting goods from the interior has become a roll of the dice. A rogue band that calls itself the Ascendant Order. I thought they were only active on the mainland, but they're here on High Isle. Rabble-rousers and troublemakers, if you ask me. And now, I hear they're looting caravans outside the city walls. Not specifically, but I saw some fancy-pants nobles giving the dockmaster grief. Missing ships could mean anything. Storms, pirates, poor winds, worthless navigators. Try Sergeant Dane over there. He's with the Sisters Guard and knows a lot.
To joust and ride and sing with pride, with hopes there'll be a star. Oh, the orders of the sisters.
I'm off duty, newcomer. Got a complaint? Take it to one of the other guards.
The albatross that sails the waves while iron sallies forth. The oaken knights know ancient ways and each appears some port.
We police High Isle. Ships that haven't arrived yet aren't our problem. Besides, we've got our hands full with these so-called Ascendant Order Knights. They're stirring up trouble all across the island. Just that they're little more than well-armed bandits. They've been recruiting the poor to bolster their numbers. Now they're robbing caravans while claiming they fight for justice. Honest folk don't hide their faces behind helmets and masks. They're malcontents. They go on about how the high and mighty misuse their power by squabbling over the Ruby Throne. It started out small enough, defying authority, inciting riots, petty sabotage. But now they're hurting people. Something else, newcomer? I'd like to get back to my drink. Ordinary bandits, the Sisters Guard can handle. But when we send enough guards to meet a company of Ascendant Order Ravagers, these faceless knights just melt away. And if we don't send enough guards, then our guards don't come back. Might as well be. Most knights proudly display their emblems. They wear the colors of their house and paint family crests on their shields. These Ascendant Order knights never remove their helms and bear no devices. They could be anybody.
You don't look like a salvager. Come to join up with those so-called knights who've been hanging around, did you? Pfeh! I'd rather go hungry than swear myself to the likes of them. Haven't seen anything sail by in the lock recently, and no new wreckage washed up today. But I've been keeping my head down. Those robber knights have been chasing off salvagers who won't promise to help them. They were recruiting, or at least offering the chance to earn a reward. They wanted people ready to haul in whatever came ashore. Several salvagers went with them. I wouldn't, though. What I find is mine. To a cave just down the beach. But I'd avoid it if I were you. Old Charbel nearly lost his head snooping around there. I don't know if they found what they were looking for, but I think they left a few knights behind to watch the shallows.
Let's make this quick. Impressive.
Oh, a traveler. I thought those vile knights had returned. Forgive me, I must continue praying for the return of our idol. Without it, this tower's light will remain dark. This lighthouse is special. It's blessed by Kynareth, the god of winds and sea. No fire serves as a beacon for nearby ships, but the divine light of Kynareth herself. But without the sacred idol, the light cannot shine. Alas, knights in unmarked livery broke in and stole the Kynareth idol. I watched the scoundrels flee to the west with the sacred edifice. Perhaps, dare I ask, would you be willing to recover the idol for the lighthouse so I may restore the beacon? They may wear the garb of knights, but the ruffians who assaulted me carry themselves like robbers and outlaws. Whoever they are, they're dangerous. Be wary of them, and may the wind guide you. Bless you, traveler. Please understand, to my order, this is more than just a lighthouse. This beacon spreads Kynareth's blessing across both land and sea, but only with the idol in place, so it must be returned.
I see something shiny.
You return, and with the idol. Place it here, and I shall call forth its light. Mother Kynareth, this traveler has set right the desecration of this holy place. Return to us your blessing, and let your light shine over the land and sea. I cannot thank you enough. With the idol returned and the light restored, we can ensure the safe passage of many a weary traveler. Is there any way a priest of humble means could repay you? A blessing, perhaps? Shortly after the lighthouse was pillaged, I spied 3 ships on the horizon. Then suddenly, the clouds darkened, and a terrible storm began to blow in. I lost sight of the ships after that. Perhaps they were simply blown off course? Amanos is notorious for its storms, but Kynareth generally blesses High Isle with fair weather. I wonder, the way the storm swept in seemed unnatural, and it happened so soon after Kynareth's idol was removed. The idol has little value outside the lighthouse. Its light does not shine in any other location. My order believes Kynareth's light blesses High Isle. Why steal the idol unless the knights meant to revoke her protection? A troubling thought indeed.
Good. You found my field office. I thought I'd keep an eye on the lock while awaiting your report. My own investigations have turned up little about our missing ships. Tell me, did you uncover anything useful? Did the lighthouse keeper spot them? Darken the beacon? The locals revere that light. Who would dare offend Kynareth in such a way? Something is indeed wrong here. At least our missing ships reached these waters, but this storm worries me. Tell me more about the rogue knights. The Ascendant Order, of course. I thought the rumors about rogue knights troubling folk outside of town had a familiar ring, but I'd hoped we'd seen the last of the Order at Sword's Rest. Tell me, did you learn anything at the Shallows? It seems the Ascendant Order knew the ships would be wrecked, and they helped make sure by extinguishing the lighthouse beacon. They knew my cargo was coming to High Isle. This means the Fighters Guild and Mages Guild delegates are in danger too. Ah, You caught that, did you? My missing cargo is more delegates for the conference. Perhaps the most important ones. But I need you to check on the guild delegates right now. They went to visit a druid named Ravana. Her hut lies to the west. Valencia, you know, she created the invitation medallions. As for Guild General Quentin, I only met him when he arrived. Seems to have a good head on his shoulders, but the war has cost him dearly. He lost his wife in a raid. Her name is Ravana. She's something of a local apothecary. She uses her skill with herbs and healing to help the folk of High Isle. With the conference delayed, Valencia was curious about druidic magic, so off she went. Quentin decided to tag along.
Greetings, traveler. Is there something I can do for you? Do you need a poultice or perhaps an herbal tea? Ah, yes. The curious mage and the stern warrior. They stopped by. When I mentioned that rogue knights had been making the countryside dangerous, they decided to investigate. I told them where I'd last seen the knights, and they set out at once. A clearing to the southwest. I'll mark the spot on your map. I saw a band of the knights gathering there the last time I went out to gather herbs. They forced me to retreat without them. I warned Valencia and Quentin it might be dangerous. We follow the old ways. Some call us priests of Y'ffre, but that is only part of our truth. We are children of the land, like the weird, guides and teachers to those who live in harmony with nature. People were not meant to bow before crowns of metal. Our people, the Breton people, went astray when they forgot the ways of nature. Stone walls and empty titles separate folk from the true way. We help them remember what their ancestors once knew. Some circles see it differently, of course. Circles are fellowships of like-minded druids. Each interprets Y'ffre's will differently, but druids of the same circle share common traditions and goals. I belong to the Stonelore Circle. We seek to teach others by the example of our work. Yes, travel far enough in the archipelago and you may meet druids of the Eldertide or Firesong circles. Although the Firesong rarely leave their island, and you should be wary of the Eldertide. They do not like city folk or mainlanders.
Over here. I could use some help. Ah, my friend. How glad I am to see you again. This island is far more dangerous than I expected, especially after what just happened. Guild General Quentin accompanied me to visit Druid Ravana. When she told us about rogue knights in the area, Quentin was eager to investigate. It was the Ascendant Order. They overpowered Quentin and knocked me senseless. They captured Quentin. I don't think so. The Ascendant Order was definitely trying to take us alive. That's the only reason I had the opportunity to throw up a shroud spell and avoid being captured myself. Did you come out here to find us? And Ravana told you where to find us. Good. Now, we must rescue Quentin. I may have a way to find where the Ascendant Order took him, but we should get to safety first. Meet me back at Druid Ravana's hut. No. We came upon them just as they were finishing an attack on a caravan. But I assume they recognized us or decided our station warranted capture rather than elimination. But you came with a warning, didn't you? What did you find out? Wrecked the ships? How in oblivion could they coordinate such a thing? Clearly, the Ascendant Order is aware of the plans for Lord Bakaro's conference. They're here in force and causing more trouble than we anticipated. If they recognized us as delegates, there's all sorts of ways they could hold that over the conference. If they just assume we're rich nobles, ransom is always an option. But who can really say what those helmeted bastards are thinking?
I understand, Valencia. Do what you must to find your friend.
I owe you a debt of gratitude for coming to my aid. It seems once again that Lady Arabelle chose well. Now to see if I can find Guild General Quentin, and by extension, the rogue knights who carried him away. Do you recall the invitation medallions I enchanted? Each delegate carries one, so I can trace my own magic to locate Quentin. Now let me see. They moved northeast, across the loch. I see an abandoned chapel. Crypts. No question, Quentin is there. Lady Arabelle asked me to try as soon as we realized the ships were late. I wasn't able to make a connection with those medallions. Maybe they were too far away, or some other magic interfered with my scrying, but I wasn't able to detect anything. No, we need to return to Lady Arabelle and share this information. Then we can mount a rescue for Guild General Quentin. I'll meet you at Lady Arabelle's little pavilion. What she calls her field office, I believe.
That sounds like a Bane chapel, but only one medallion is there. Valencia apprised me of the situation. I believe I know the place where she thinks they're holding Quentin. It must be the crypts below Abane Chapel on the northern shore of the loch. Will you accompany us on this rescue mission, my dear? Smashing. This will be like that time I pulled General Gautier out of a Reach stronghold during the border raids of 566. Now that was an adventure. Anyway, it's too bad Valencia couldn't scry the locations of the other missing delegates. I suppose you've earned the truth, and you certainly deserve my complete confidence. The 3 ships carried High King Emmerich, Queen Irene, and Prince Ernskar, son of Yoren the Skald King. I dare say I've misplaced the leaders of Tamriel. I warned them of the danger, and we took such elaborate precautions. Obviously, they weren't enough. If we find Quentin with the Ascendant Order, we may find our missing royals. Let's meet at the chapel north of the loch and see what awaits us. We'll rendezvous at Abane Chapel on the north side of the loch. I've already sent an operative ahead to scout the area. Be prepared to defend yourself. The Ascendant Order won't give up Guild General Quentin without a fight. Whatever the situation, I won't abandon Quentin to his fate. Oh, that's good. Let me write that down. Besides, we have to risk it, both to save Quentin and to see if we can learn anything about the missing Alliance leaders. We know their medallions aren't there, but they could have lost them at sea. Regardless, if the Ascendant Order uses the chapel as a hideout, we may learn something about their plans. Or a clue as to where to search for the Alliance leaders, perhaps.
There. It's open. Got any more locks you need picked? How about you, Valencia?
I think not, thank you.
Now's not the time, Jakan. Let's see what awaits us down in the crypts.
I can't pinpoint the exact location of Quentin's medallion. He could be anywhere in here.
I'll scout ahead. Maybe someone should watch the door in case anyone follows us.
I'll keep watch. Be careful.
Aw, I knew you cared.
Quentin is our priority, but keep your eyes open. Who knows what the Ascendant Order left lying about? Ascendant Order propaganda. Don't be taken in. They are not as benevolent as they want you to think. No sign of Quentin yet, though. We should keep going. The Ascendant Order has the captains of our missing ships. But where are the Alliance leaders? First things first, clear the path to the South Crypt base. We must rescue the captains and hope that Quentin is with them.
Lady Arabelle.
Colleen, Zaji, Zuzo. Thank the Divines you're all right. But where are the delegates?
Apologies, my lady. We lost our charges.
Zaji is not all right.
Not to spoil the reunion, but we're about to get company.
Jakan, free the captains. Friend, keep the Ascendant Order at bay. Buy us some time.
Been more prepared.
Stupid thing won't... Wait, got it!
Collect Valencia and get the captains to safety, Jakan. We'll find Quentin.
The Knights took Quentin away not long ago. I think they're questioning him now.
Then we must hurry. Come, my friend.
Let's not pay.
Down there. It's Quentin. Let's listen and try to figure out what's going on.
A new age of peace is upon us. An age of free peoples, standing together, not kneeling to distant thrones.
This is not your war, General. What say you?
The war took everything from me. I am with you. How can I help?
The Order is trying to recruit Quentin? We have to put a stop to this.
Each delegate carries a medallion like this one, Magus. It serves as both an invitation and a key.
Keep it. We may need your access later. Right now, I want you to kill the meddling investigator nipping at our heels.
Lady Arabelle? But she's...
No longer working alone. She's found some capable help. Deal with them.
Oh, Quentin. I guess you've made your choice.
Never a dull moment.
Here is your chance, Quentin. Stop these fools and strike a blow for the people.
For the Ascendant Order! We can't allow the General to stop us. The Ascendant Magus...
There's something worth bragging about.
The Ascendant Magus disappeared while Quentin kept us busy, and the Ascendant Lord left before that. I doubt we'll catch either of them now. Come, let's leave this place. There's nothing more for us here. I didn't expect Guild General Quentin to turn on us, and I certainly didn't desire his death. It seems sympathy for the Ascendant Order is more widespread than I knew. We must be cautious, particularly with whom we choose to trust going forward. Do I expect it? No. But that doesn't mean we should let our guard down. This venture wasn't a complete failure, though. We rescued the captains of our missing ships. We need to find out what happened at sea and what befell the Alliance leaders. To Mandrake Manor, my home in Gonfalon Bay. I'll mark it on your map. Jakan Valencia and I have been using my townhouse as a base of operations. I'm confident that it is as safe from the Ascended Order as any other location we might choose. Oh, the name comes from a book I'm rather fond of. I bought the manor to serve as my home in retirement, and I keep a few mementos of my career there. Meet me there, my dear, and we'll see what our rescued captains have to say about all this. Ah, there you are. Go inside and talk to Captain Colleen. Find out what happened at sea. I need a moment to collect my thoughts.
Must Zaji tell this sad story again? The last Zaji saw of Queen Irene, she was struggling to launch a damaged skiff. Then Zaji was swept away in the storm. Zaji was entrusted with getting her safely to High Isle, but he lost her and Koska. Zaji must admit he was sleeping in his cabin when the storm hit. He woke up when cold water climbed into bed with him. The next thing Zaji knows, he is being fished out of the sea by strange knights. I'm saved, Zaji thinks. Then they tied me up. The annoying knights, yes. Zaji heard the commander talking. The Lord, they called him. He was angry the Alliance leaders did not wash ashore with Zaji. Zaji did not see the Lord's face, but he spoke like a Breton noble. Zaji could hear it. Zaji lost Queen Irene, and First Mate Casca too. The wind and the waves must have carried them somewhere else. The Lord and the Magus, the Order's leaders, they swore to comb every beach until they found her. And the others too, Zaji supposes.
I thank you for my rescue.
I do not think the Ascendant Order had any more use for me. Once they realized I could not tell them what became of Prince Ernskar, they dragged me back to the cell. I remember it like the ripples in my favorite pond. A storm blew up without warning. My ship was driven onto the rocks near Amanos and broke apart. All were cast into the sea. When we reached shore, those rogue knights grabbed us. I did not see what became of him. He might have been trapped in the part of the ship that was swept away. Or maybe the currents carried him to a different part of the shore. Or he might have drowned. I know that many of my crew did.
I honestly didn't think we'd ever leave that cell alive. I owe you a debt of gratitude, friend. We all do. And I owe Dockmaster of Gonfalon Bay payment of a different kind. I visit High Isle often, and I considered Arnauld a friend. Bah! An armored mage and a gang of ruffians were waiting at the shallows. They clubbed down all who made it ashore. Dockmaster Arnauld showed up, and I thought we were saved. But the mage, a Brent noble by his voice, paid him to walk away and leave. We were nearing landfall when a huge storm swept out of nowhere. I looked for the light at Gonfalon Head, but the lighthouse was dark. We were blown off course, crashed upon some rocks. I lost sight of High King Emmerich, but somehow made it to shore. I'm not sure. I didn't see any of the royals when I waded ashore, and I was the last one from my ship to make it to the beach. The tide turned as I swam in, and no one was washed up after me. I'm afraid you won't find the High King at the shallows.
Over here, dear. We have much to do. I adore this view. Isn't the Colossus a wondrous sight? Still, gazing upon it does nothing to quell my anxiety. Somehow the Ascendant Order learned not only about our secret peace talks, but that the Alliance leaders were going to attend. And neither do we. We're not even sure they're still alive, but we must hope. Your help has been invaluable thus far, my dear, and you've earned every piece of gold in this pouch. We'll find the Alliance leaders and unmask the Order. We have to. Just as the Colossus watches over Gonfalon Bay, I was supposed to keep the Alliance leaders safe. I failed in that, but at least they aren't in the Ascendant Order's hands. Not yet, anyway. What did Captain Colleen and the others have to say, dear? Breton nobles? Yes. We heard that as well when the Ascendant Lord and the Magus were speaking in the crypts. That's something to go on. And if the Alliance leaders didn't end up in the shallows, we'll need to look elsewhere. What else, dear? Well, that's a lead we can investigate. I'd like to have a chat with Dockmaster Arnauld about that and a great many other things. I detest being lied to, and he did it with such conviction. You're still on retainer, dear. Would you care to join me? The Dockmaster's home overlooks the harbor to the west. Jakarn and I will meet you there. First Quentin, now this. I hardly know who to trust. Times like these, I take a moment to contemplate the Colossus in the harbor. It helps clear my thoughts. That's one of the wonders of the archipelago, dear. The locals are very proud of their statue. Even a few of them know the real story behind who it represents. I like it as well. One of the reasons I bought the manor. Such a spectacular view. The Colossus of Gonfalon Bay is Baron Admiral Bendu Olo, though most on the mainland would know him as the Colovian King of Anvil. He formed the All-Flags Navy around 2260 in the First Era to gain vengeance against the Slode for the Thracian Plague. The largest Allied naval force in Tamrielic history. Ships from every nation and province participated, and many of the vessels were built right here on High Isle. The fleet launched from here and rained destruction upon Thras for their treachery. Nothing, my dear, but you asked. Lord Bakara selected High Isle for the peace talks because of that history, though. The All-Flags Navy recalls a time when disparate people united in common cause. He hopes to inspire the delegates to do the same.
Do is bury me in the crypt, seeing as I take such good care of them.
Place is a mess.
I imagine the Ascendant Order ruffians loitering outside had something to do with that. Let's look around. A few drops of dried blood. A scuffle, but not a murder. Someone planning to depart doesn't set a meal on the table. The Ascendant Magus did bribe the Dockmaster, just as Captain Colleen said. I think I have a picture of what transpired here. Let's talk, my dear. Nothing packed, food left on the table, and signs of a recent scuffle. I think it's safe to say Dockmaster Arnaud found that his Ascendant Order friends weren't entirely satisfied with their arrangement. They've obviously spirited him away. The Dockmaster ignored the wishes of the Ascendant Magus. Captain Colleen saw Arnaud collect another payment at the lock. I suspect he got greedy, and once he proved he wouldn't stay bribed, well, he became a liability. The Ascendant Order's throwing around a lot of coin on High Isle. If we follow the gold, we'll find someone with wealth and local influence behind this. Another clue that a High Isle noble is involved. Perhaps they want to keep the war going. Profit, of course. That's what it always comes down to. Lord Bakaro should be able to tell us which nobles stand to lose if the war ends. Go to Steadfast Manor, northwest of the city. I'll have Jakarn look for the Dockmaster and then meet you there. Almost certainly. As I said, we must be careful about whom we trust. It is a concern, but it can also work to our advantage. Gold only buys loyalty for so long, and I suspect our adversaries are not as organized as they appear. We know their opening move didn't go as planned. They were interrogating the captains to try to find the missing Alliance leaders. Now they've taken the Dockmaster, who would have been more useful to them where he was. They don't trust each other. I doubt it. If Dockmaster Arnauld knew where the Alliance leaders were, he would have happily sold that information to the Ascendant Magus in exchange for his freedom. We know he didn't because the Order is still looking for them. I suspect the Order wants power, not peace. When the throne is vacant, your prospects of becoming Emperor suddenly seem a good deal more promising. That sort of prize might tempt a noble with just the right mix of ambition, gold, and imagination. Lord Bacaro worked diligently to bring the peace talks to High Isle. Not everyone thought that was a good idea. I'm curious as to who opposed him and why. Better yet, he won't voice suspicions without good cause. We can rely on his discretion.
You there. Can we speak for a moment?
I want to help, Lady Arabelle, but I'm concerned for the safety of my retainers.
My associate might be able to help in that regard, Lord Bacaro.
Lady Arabelle asks about the nobility, while 2 of my retainers are missing. The Society of the Steadfast will do whatever is necessary to keep its people safe. She mentioned the Ascendant Order might be involved. Do you think that's possible? Yes, I understand that you and Lady Arabelle have tangled with these brigands before. They claim to be knights, but they have no honor. Will you do as Lady Arabelle suggested and look for my retainers? I would consider it a personal favor. I sent Grenier and Denise to retrieve a shipment from the Navir docks, but I expected them back ages ago. They were traveling the road to the south. I just pray no evil befell them. The supplies we can lose, but good people are irreplaceable. Thank you, my friend. I'll confer with Lady Arabelle while we await your return. I'll tell her everything I know about the nobility of High Isle, if she really thinks that will help. I knew peace would be hard to achieve, but I never expected a war.
Lost another one. What could it be?
What?
Who's next?
You there! Can we speak for a moment?
You return alone? I take it the news is not good. Grineer and Denise were not just retainers. They were friends. The Steadfast shall miss them, and so shall I. Please, tell me what happened. Grineer and Denise were helping arrange a banquet at Castle Navir. Then they were to collect the supplies and return here. What could they have seen that would cost them their lives? The banquet is just to welcome our royal guests to the island. The Ascendant Order, plundering Steadfast supplies and killing our retainers. Damn. It was brave of Grineer to try to fight back, but foolish. The supplies weren't worth their lives. So Lady Arabelle informed me. I hesitate to accuse anyone, but perhaps you should join me at Castle Navir. All the nobles of High Isle will be there, and if my retainers did see something at the castle, perhaps you can determine what that was. Duchess Ilea of House Dufort is hosting the banquet. She's decided to go ahead and throw the party, even though our guests of honor are still missing. Go to Castle Navir's courtyard. Introduce yourself when you arrive. Be discreet, please. Duchess Alea wants to project confidence, especially in light of the current situation. Rumors travel swiftly in the archipelago. The people need to believe we have things under control. I expected to pay a ransom and have the delegates back by now. Ridiculous. No one opposes peace. It's just that some of the nobles questioned if this were the right time and place. Duchess Alea, for example, didn't want to bring the mainland's troubles to High Isle, not without hope our efforts would bear fruit. Count Leonard of House Mornard enjoys brisk profits by supplying all sides in the war. He doesn't want that to end too abruptly, especially not in a way that makes Alea and House Dufort look good. He detests that she decided to host the talks. Rivals and partners. House Mornard built its wealth on trade. They rely on House Dufort ships to carry their goods. But the two families have long vied with each other for primacy. The Mornards resent the fact that the Duforts rule High Isle.
It's a shame the Ascendant Order got to Lord Baccaro's retainers before you could. What could they have seen that warranted their deaths? Perhaps we'll learn more at Castle Navir, although I'm certainly not in the mood for a party. And our missing guests of honor will no doubt be the main topic of discussion. This is a chance to listen, as well as ask questions. Make sure you speak to Alea Dufort, Demar Dufort, and John Menard. They'll be the most important nobles present. Until we know more, I suspect everybody. But if any of the nobles are funding the Ascendant Order, I think it likely that it's one of the grand families of High Isle. That means House Dufort or House Menard. Either way, we'll know more soon. Alea is the Duchess of House Dufort and nominal ruler of High Isle. Demard is her brother and a count. John Menard is the highest-ranking noble of House Menard, currently on High Isle. He's Count Leonard's cousin, representing house interests here.
I heard the daughter is so distraught, she's refusing to leave her rooms. So exciting.
Scandalous. No doubt Isabel is beside herself.
Might as well enjoy ourselves while we're here. Do you still prefer a Russafeld Red, my lady?
That would be delightful. Thank you, Bacaro. Introduce yourself to the nobility, my friend. And remember, even the smallest detail could be the clue we seek.
It's an honor to be invited to one of Duchess Alea's parties. I've heard she only allows members of her own family into the castle. Most people never set foot inside the walls, let alone rub shoulders with the highest nobility of High Isle.
Such a waste. I have little patience for the vanity of our noble houses on the best of days. Right now, I'm sure we all have better things we could be doing. I suspect you agree. You're the one assisting Lord Bacaro and Lady Arabelle, aren't you? I try to keep up on matters of state, but I confess, Alea told us all about you. I am Count de Mard, the Duchess's brother and court mage of House Dufort. Tell me, has your investigation uncovered news regarding a sudden storm that appeared recently? A hypothesis that matches my own. While my sister chases bandit knights across the countryside, I wonder about the druids who make the wild parts of High Isle their home. They have little love for civilized culture. They could be responsible. I don't think that storm was natural. The druids wield old magics and consort with spirits. It is well within their abilities to summon such a tempest. They mostly keep to themselves, but I suspect a ruse. Those are your culprits, mark my words. Magic is the legacy and heritage of the Breton people. Oh, I spent my time mastering the sword and knightly pursuits in my youth, but I believe that a true Breton must study both halves of our nature, and perhaps the ways of the druids, too. We Bretons trace our ancestry to Needs and elves who intermingled during the early history of High Rock. Therefore, spellcraft is in our blood, and we all at least have some talent with magic. I find the subject fascinating and decided to embrace it. No, some have forgotten our traditions. Were it not for my talent, I doubt my sister would bother with a court mage. She sends me to look after Dufort interests in ports across Tamriel, rather than making full use of my arcane skills. A pity.
I don't believe we've met. John Monard, a pleasure. My family is in shipping. We import goods from the mainland and send wares from the archipelago to markets in Tamriel. You're the investigator working with Lady Arabelle, aren't you? The Duchess explained everything to the court just before you arrived. If Lady Arabelle had consulted us, things would be different. We know what hazards await careless captains making the approach to High Isle. Her ships were simply unprepared. Don't tell me you buy into this Ascendant Order nonsense. A shadowy order of knights working to undermine the governments all across Tamriel? It's a ruse, my friend. A convenient fiction to protect the flawless name of House Dufort. Oh. Alea gained her station by currying favor in High Rock. Then she made a show of backing Lord Bacaro's steadfast society. But ruining the peace talks and getting heads of state killed? Blame must be placed. And she'd never fall on that sword herself. My family ruled the archipelago for generations, but the Duforts were never happy in our shadow. They spent years poisoning the court against us. And when my uncle Avreep quietly supported King Rancer a few years back, it paid off for them. The High King stripped my uncle of the ducal title and gave it to the Duforts. It was an outrage, really. We took no part in Rancer's war. At least the Duforts didn't get everything they wanted. We kept most of our holdings, and it eats at them. goodness, no. That honor falls to my cousin Leonard, and he can have it. I wouldn't want the responsibility. No, I'm content managing our affairs here on High Isle. I leave the larger concerns of the business and house to my cousin, the Count.
Lord Bacaro has arrived, Duchess. He brought that Lady Arabelle with him.
Welcome to Castle Navir. You're Lady Arabelle's assistant, yes? Then you know these festivities are only for appearances' sake. Our guests of honor have yet to be found. Rest assured, I intend to bring the radicals behind this plot to justice. I'm aware of most things that happen on my isle. It's true we didn't connect reports of mysterious knights to the Ascendant Order until recently, but now that we know they are one and the same, we'll quickly bring them to heel. I suggest that you and Lady Arabelle leave this matter in our hands. My knights have already pinpointed several sites where the Ascendant Order gathers. They are scouring High Isle for our missing guests even as we speak. Which is why I prefer to handle this discreetly. I suspect House Mornard is behind this. They profit greatly from the war, and they still hold a grudge against my house for overshadowing their own. Frankly, I put nothing past them. My family builds ships. Our shipyards construct the finest vessels to ply the western seas. In reward for our service, High King Emmerich granted us the Duchy of Sisters. We rule with care and compassion for all, even the Mornards. One should be careful when talking about one's neighbors. Still, Count Mornard's dislike of my family is well known. Years ago, his father backed King Ronser of Schornhelm in his dispute with High King Emmerich. Emmerich did not forget it. He punished Avric Mornard by stripping him of his ducal title and granting it to my father instead. The Mornards remain counts, with holdings and estates throughout the Isles. But the Duforts are now the Dukes of the Sisters.
Might I offer you a refreshment, friend? Didn't think I'd miss this little soiree, did you? Listen, I have it on good authority from a very accommodating chambermaid, in fact, that the Duchess has been looking into the Ascendant Order on her own. Well, I've got a plan. Not Jakarn, waiter Fred. I'm in disguise. I told you about the chambermaid, right? She's one of the Duchess's personal assistants. Well, she told me where the Duchess keeps her sensitive documents, among other unmentionable items. Nobles and the upper staff never pay attention to the common help. I easily filched a key from that stuck-up steward Hercian. While I cause a distraction, you go take a look. Duchess Alea has a private study somewhere beyond the northeast door. I'll lure the guards away from the doors, but I'll need your help. Talk to one of the musicians and ask them to play the tune Stagger and Sway. It's an old favorite of mine. I'll take care of the rest.
Something you need, friend? I don't really take requests. Duchess Alea provided a list of approved songs she wanted performed. That one definitely isn't one of them. Not that she would notice. I don't think anyone is really listening to the music. It's good to see that someone appreciates the arts. All right then, you'll have your song.
Lords and ladies of the court, I dedicate this song and dance to the most buxom, curvaceous, voluptuous of all royals, Duchess Alea!
You get down from there at once! Stop this nonsense!
Begins today. Join us, or be swept down. Storm bring down the old city. Lightning and lava will herald in a new age. No one is beyond our reach. Stand aside and you will find a place in the new regime. Stand against us, and you will be brought to your knees.
Oh, good. You're all right. It seems our adversaries decided to send a message to all those in attendance. Submit or die. A classic. Did you uncover anything useful before the Ascendant Magus made his entrance? I see. Clearly Duchess Alea's investigation hasn't gotten very far. Perhaps we can make better use of the leads she's been developing. But we have little time to waste. The Ascendant Magus demonstrated real power. Did you notice how the ground shook when he unleashed his storm? That's not a magic I've seen before. Somehow his storm magic is causing earthquakes. At least he hasn't recovered the Alliance leaders yet. We still have time. Because the Ascendant Magus has made a show of wanting us to fear him. Why would he care if he had what he wanted and couldn't be stopped? No, the royals elude him, somehow. But his magic, I wonder... Among the other problems plaguing High Isle, lava vents have begun to open in random locations. Between the ground shaking and the storms, could the Magus have stirred the volcano? Let's return to my manor so we can study these items more closely. Lord Bacaro, it may not be safe to return to Steadfast Manor.
Nonsense. I refuse to hide from these cretins. I'll double my guard, but they won't drive me from my home.
Very well. I'll check in with you later. Jakan, let's go. And put on a shirt, my dear.
Bursting open across the Isles.
First the storm, now this? It must be the work of the Ascendant Order.
You give them too much credit. An earthquake destroyed the Gonfalon Colossus.
Yes, an Ascendant earthquake. Trust Zaji, he knows.
I have visited High Isle several times over the years. Never have I seen the ground so restless. It is alarming. Could Zaji be right? Could the Ascendant Order be causing these tremors and eruptions? Storm and fire. I am troubled. If the Ascendant Magus can use powerful storm magic against his enemies, does he also command the tremors and volcanic fissures? It is maddening to even contemplate. Oh, Zaji is right to worry then. The loss of a monument might be the least of our concerns if the Ascendant Order can rouse the volcano. Lady Arabelle is inside, friend. Perhaps she'll know what to do.